Hello and welcome. This video is going to walk you through the academic history quadrant of the CSU application. To complete this section, you'll need copies of your unofficial transcripts from each college and university you've attended and the dates and scores of any AP, IB, or CLEP exams you may have taken for college credit. Let's get started. As we've mentioned in other videos in this series, you are able to complete tiles in whatever order you like throughout the majority of the application. That said, there are a couple tiles that depend on the completion of other specific sections first. For example, general education depends on the information entered in college coursework, and college coursework depends on what's been entered in colleges attended. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first tile, high schools attended, and work my way down. Here, you must add information about the high schools you've attended. You can add a maximum of 5 in total. If you have attended more than 5, list those where you have taken the majority of your classes. To begin, simply select Add High School. If you attended a homeschool, be sure to use this tab here. If not, continue on to the High School tab. Once you enter the country, state, and city of your high school, a list will populate below. If you see your high school in the list, go ahead and select it. If not, begin typing the full high school name. If you still don't see your high school, select this option here and follow the prompts. Next, enter the dates attended and the term type of the school. Once you've finished entering the required information, click Save this school and repeat this process as needed. Once you've completed entering your high schools, you'll need to enter your graduation status. Upper division transfer applicants with 60 or more transferable semester college credits are not required to have a high school diploma or equivalent. However, you will still need to complete this section. Choose the option that reflects your graduation status. Now, let's move on to the academic information tile. This tile is straightforward and only consists of a couple potential questions. If you attended high school or secondary school outside of the United States, then answer yes to this question. You will then need to provide your academic performance at this school, like your high school GPA, standing, percentage, or anything else that fits. In addition, the name of the degree or diploma you received is needed before you can save and continue. If you did not attend high school or secondary school outside of the United States, then simply answer no and save and continue. Next, you're going to need to add your colleges in the colleges attended tile. In this section, you'll need to report all institutions you've attended regardless of the relevance to the programs you are applying to or accreditation status. This includes, but is not limited to, community colleges, study abroad programs, summer programs, academic enrichment programs, private and public universities, and U.S. military academies, with the exception of courses on SMART or JST transcripts. List all institutions, even if the coursework you completed there was later transferred to another institution. And lastly, before we dive in, report each institution only once, regardless of any gaps in the dates of attendance. Okay, let's begin by selecting Add a college or university. First, enter the college or university's name and select it from the drop-down list. Next, indicate whether or not you have or will be obtaining a degree from this institution. Selecting yes will populate questions about your degree. Please note that Sierra College does not offer double majors or minors. If you are receiving 2 or more degrees from our college, you must add them separately. When adding the degree information, make sure you are selecting the appropriate degree type and remember that there is a difference between an associate's degree for transfer and a general associate's degree. To add more, click Add another degree and repeat. Lastly, you'll need to select the term system of the institution. Once selected, add the dates of attendance. For the first semester, use the month the term began. If you're still attending, be sure to check this box here. Otherwise, use the month the term ended for the last semester. When all of the fields have been completed, select the Save button. Repeat this process to add all other institutions you've attended. After you've finished, it's time to enter your classes. The college coursework tile is probably the most time-consuming part of the application and is also one of the most important sections. As mentioned in one of our previous videos, this tutorial series may not cover every nuance of the application. As such, we recommend you check out the Applicant Help Center link here for additional information about how to complete this section, including how to enter repeated courses, academic renewals, and AP, CLEP, or IB tests being used to satisfy general education requirements. It is critical that you complete this section accurately. You must report all courses completed at all colleges attended, including courses from which you withdrew, repeated courses, academic renewals, pass and no pass courses, credit and no credit courses, non-transferable courses, test credits, courses not applicable towards your current educational goal, in-progress courses, planned courses, etc. If it appears on your transcript, it should be entered into the application. It is also important that you list each class under the institution where you took the course with the exact term, year, department prefix, and course number as it appears on the original school's transcript. Select the Start button to begin course entry for a college. Let's start by adding a semester, or quarter or trimester, depending on the term type of the institution. Beginning with the first term attended at the institution, add the term and year that corresponds to the term. Only the years you entered into the college's attended tile will appear in this drop-down list. If you don't see the correct year, go back to that section to update your dates of attendance for the institution. If you are still attending the institution, future years will display to allow in-progress and planned course entry. Next, select the academic status that corresponds to the number of credits that you completed prior to beginning the term you are currently working on. You are considered a freshman if you've completed 29 or fewer semester credits, a sophomore for 30 to 59, junior for 60 to 89, and a senior for greater than or equal to 90 semester units. Now, indicate whether the term is completed or in progress or planned. Remember, each term must be entered separately, so be sure not to add all of your courses as one big list. Now that you've added a term, you can begin entering your course information. The course code, course title, credits, and grade should be entered like they appear on your transcript from the institution at which they were completed. Enter the course code without any space between the subject and number. As you type, a drop-down list may appear. Select the course from the list and it will auto-populate the other fields for this class, with the exception of the subject. Be sure to double-check that each field populates correctly. If they don't, edit them to match your transcript. If a drop-down list doesn't appear, enter in the course manually. The course title should match your transcript, including any punctuation used. The subject will not auto-populate. However, one must be selected for each course or you will not be able to save. Choose whatever subject best fits. For example, if you are taking human anatomy, choose anatomy instead of biology. If you don't see a subject that corresponds to your course, select special topics. In these next two fields, you will enter the unit value for your class. Enter the whole unit value here and the decimal value here. If a class is worth 1.5 units, it should be entered as 1 and 50. If these fields auto-populated, double-check the values match your transcripts. Make sure to enter your grade as listed on your transcript, including any pluses or minuses, if applicable. All attempts and grades should be included. Lastly, mark whether or not the course is transferable. This is based on the transferability of the course, not the units. So, for example, if you withdrew from a transferable class, this box should still be checked, even though you are not receiving credit for it. For tips on determining course transferability, reference the Transfer Application Guide linked in the video description below. We also recommend using the guide if you have any AP, IB, or CLEP exam scores in any academically renewed, repeated, or military courses. Be sure to save each semester as you go. Repeat this process until all of your classes for each institution have been entered into the College Coursework tile. Once you are completely finished, click on the College Coursework tile again and select Yes to the question, "Have you completed entering your transcript?" at the bottom of the page. This section requires you to identify the classes you have taken that satisfy the CSU's 4 critical course requirements, commonly called the Golden 4. These courses must be completed with a grade of C- or better. If you are unsure what classes satisfy these requirements, we recommend you check your degree works or use assist.org. Some students may have multiple classes that satisfy an area. If this is the case, simply select one. This section is just confirming that you have met the requirement. This box here is meant for international applicants who are not transferring from a U.S. institution and lower division transfer students. Do not check it if you don't fit in either of these two categories. Let's move on to standardized tests. If you have taken any AP, CLEP, or IB exams, passed or not, then enter them in this tile. You'll need the exam name, date taken, and the score you received. Non-passing scores are viewed as neutral and do not have a negative effect on your application. If you have not taken any of these exams, then simply select I am not adding any standardized tests. To add an exam, select the appropriate Add Test Score button. Use the drop-down list to select the exam name and indicate whether you have already taken the exam. Then add the date taken and score. You can either hit Save and Add Another to add another exam within the same category, or save this test if you're finished with that exam type. This process is the same for all 3 categories. You've completed the most difficult part of the application. If you've been following along with our tutorial series, you only have 2 more quadrants left. If this was the last piece for you, then check out our tutorial on how to submit. See you soon!